Welcome back. We're going to try something pretty ambitious. We're going to create a multi-page website together and bring together some of the features we've been talking about in all these videos. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. I'm going to create a new website, Other, choose a template, blank template, Edit. Now to increase visibility, instead of making a background photo, a background image, I'm just going to do background color. So I'm going to click on background. I'm going to choose color. I'm just going to choose a neutral color. And then after you do that, you'll see that the middle is not colored in. So we're going to take care of that by doing change page design and putting no color. Now at this stage, we have a one-page website which is blank, like we've been talking about all before. We're going to do something we haven't done before, which is we're going to add new pages. There's a few ways to do this. We're going to talk about both of them right now. One of them is to go here on the bottom and click on Add Page. That'll create a blank page as if there was no connection with the first page. Or we can go to the first page and duplicate it. Let's go ahead and duplicate it because that'll save the coloring and save us a little time. So if we duplicate it, you see that it took the first page, which was home, and called it copy of home. We're going to rename that page 2. We're going to go back to the first page, and we're going to duplicate it again to create a third page. I'm going to call that page 3. And notice that page 3 is above page 2, which is illogical and unnecessary. So we're going to drag it beneath page 2, just like I did with the mouse right here. Now we're going to go in and examine each page and see what we can do in terms of learning some new functionality. I'm going to look at these 3 dots at the end of the home page, and I'm going to do page info. Now, one thing we haven't talked about, but which is very important, is that we understand that this is our home page. Home page means when you invoke this website, it's the page you land on. We're going to leave it calling it home like it is now. We could change its name if we wanted to. I'm going to click through all the menu options here. If I did, we're going to remain as a standard layout. We're going to change the permissioning to be password protected, just to try something new. So I'm going to change it, add a new password called something really, really cool like Neil. And we're going to ignore the members only box. We're going to make it that anybody who wants to come to this webpage has to put in the password. Now the SEO page, SEO stands for search engine optimization. If we are creating a page that we wanted people who are on the internet to come visit, so if we're a restaurant or some kind of business and we want to gather business, we want to optimize the search function. And by that I mean when people Google for restaurant in Hempstead, we want our restaurant to show up on top, especially if we have a particular kind of restaurant. So if we're an Indian restaurant in Hempstead, we would even more so want to come up on top so that when they list all the Indian restaurants, we would be first. So let's go item through item through this. So when it asks what's the page title on search engines, let's just call it an Indian restaurant. In Hempstead. So let's not do that. Let's give it the actual name. We'll make up a name. We'll call it Joe's Restaurant. And when it asks what the page is about, we're going to make it an new and exciting Indian restaurant in Hempstead, New York. We're going to continue down. You see here that we could hide the page from search results if we want to be, if we don't want to be publicly facing. I want you to note here when it does the /home, the default is the /home, but that's going to be important in the other pages. Okay, the pages keywords, we're going to put that in as Indian restaurant Hempstead. And we're going to say that's done. Now let's go to page 2 and look at the same thing. We're going to look, what's the page name? We could change it here. We could hide it from a menu, which we'll get to. We can make this the home page. Just because the first page is called home doesn't have to mean it is the home. The layouts, we're going to keep it the same. Permission, we're not going to have any password on the second page or the third page because that's a bit crazy. We're just going to keep it on the home page. So when I do SEO Google, the search engine optimization, you don't really want the search engine to come to any other page but the home page. So you would think you don't need this tab, but it's not true. If you look here on the bottom, it says, what's the page URL? We're going to want to give this a proper name. So in this example, we could call it the menu or whatever it might be on this page. We're going to go to page 3 and look at the same information. We're going to change, go to here and go. We're going to go to directions, just to make up some names. Now, if you go back to the home page, the layout we've been through, we could hide pages. We can delete pages. We can duplicate pages. We can rename pages. So I think we pretty much covered what we wanted to do there. Now let's go back to the home page, which we're at. We're going to create a site heading, a site title. If I go to the text and I click on site title, I'm going to put it up here, and I'm going to call it Joe's Restaurant in Hempstead. I'm going to stretch it out a little bit. I'm going to make it a little bit more in the middle. What I'm going to do in addition is one thing I want to do when I'm in the first page, I would normally fill it up, but we don't have time for all of that. You'll notice here when I click on this, it shows in all pages, which is what we want to see. Now, if I go in and I add a menu, now notice on the side here, I could jump from different segments of the menu around. What I want to jump to is the vertical menus. So I'm going to bring a vertical menu over here. And you notice when I drag it out, automatically it fills in home, page 2, and page 3. It's smart enough to figure that out, which is very, very good. Now, if I click, I'm clicked on the menu. I want to make sure it shows up in every page. So I click here to show on all pages. Another thing I want to do, I want to add in a button on page 1. And it's just an arbitrary button just to illustrate a point. I'm going to put it down here. I'm going to change the text to go to page 2. Or I'm going to say go to menu. Or say see menu. And what does the link do? I'm going to have the link go to my second page. And this button's only going to show up on this page. Okay, let's now publish this website and have a look at it. I'm going to call it Joe's Restaurant. Joe's Restaurant. I'll just call it Joe's. Okay, now when I publish it and I view it, you notice right off the bat I can't see anything unless I add a password. If I add the wrong password, it's just not going to let me in. This is a very useful feature for a lot of people. I put in the password that we created before, and if I bounce around between the pages, you'll see that as I go to different pages, the site heading is on in every single page, and the menu button is only on the first page. So if I go back to home and I click on see menu, it went to page 2 because I could see that page 2 is highlighted. Okay, that's the end of today's lesson.